Hi everyone, Dr. Elena Monarch here with Mass Movement. Today we're going to be talking about a lifestyle pillar of the day, internal strength. We talk a lot about external strength at the box, and today is an opportunity to go inside a little bit and make sure that we're internally strong as well. You can't talk about internal strength without talking about the nervous system. Your nervous system takes care of everything in your body. It's involved with everything. It's kind of behind the scenes, so you might not know how important it is and what it's doing back there, but it does a lot of very, very important work. The part of the nervous system we're going to be talking about today is the autonomic nervous system. And again, the autonomic nervous system is behind the scenes. It's taking care of you all the time. It operates kind of like it sounds, automatically. So this is not any voluntary action. This is things that your body takes care of without any effort from you. The autonomic nervous system is broken down into two parts, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. I think a lot of you have heard by now about the sympathetic nervous system because that's when we talk about fight or flight responses. That part is the sympathetic nervous system. And the sympathetic nervous system is actually really badass. It's there to protect you. So the sympathetic nervous system is there to handle threat and to protect you. Okay, so what could be more important than protecting your life? This is a part of the nervous system that helps you survive in any type of emergency situation. It gets you out of all kinds of trouble, and it protects your physical well-being, your emotional well-being, and everything in between. All right, so that's the main purpose of the sympathetic nervous system. You'll hear a lot of times that it's called the fight or flight system. In any case, the opposite system in your body that does extremely important things too, but is a little quieter and you might not have heard of it, is called the parasympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system is the part of your body that restores and rebuilds. Okay, so that might not sound as fancy and interesting and important, but it's incredibly important, and I hope that by the time I'm done talking in about 10 minutes that you're convinced of that as well. All right, so let's just get into what the sympathetic nervous system does. The sympathetic nervous system, before you even consciously know that there's a problem, it starts flying into action. It picks up a danger. And as soon as it picks up some kind of a danger, no matter what form that danger is in, what it's going to do is it's going to increase your heart rate, increase your blood pressure, increase your rate of respiration. It's going to make you sweat a little bit. You might not even notice it. Some people notice their hands get a little clammy or something, but it might make you sweat, just a tiny bit. The sympathetic nervous system is going to tell your muscles to tense up. All right, so here's what happens. Your brain picks up some sort of threat in the environment, and it can be any type of threat. I'll discuss that in a minute. And automatically, very, very quickly, within seconds, your body has now increased its heart rate, increased its blood pressure, respiration, breathing, sweating, and the muscles now have gotten tense. There's other things that happen too. Your body will send extra blood to your brain, and your pupils will dilate. And all these actions together make it so that you are much more prepared to fight off a danger. The muscle tension is a particularly interesting one because some people will ask, well, why do we need muscle tension in a fight or flight situation? And the reason for that is because if your muscles are contracted and they're a little bit tense, you're already ready to hit someone or run. It just saves you a second or two in being able to fight or flee in a situation. Okay, so that's the sympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic is doing basically all of the opposite things, right? The parasympathetic system, when that one is on, it decreases heart rate and decreases blood pressure, decreases respiration. Of course, you're breathing, but just kind of slower in a more restorative way. You don't sweat, and now your muscles get to relax. Okay? not just relax, but they get to repair. The things that happen when the parasympathetic nervous system are on are subtle but incredibly important, especially at a time when you're trying to support your immune system. So all the repair to your immune system happens when your parasympathetic nervous system is on. All your GI work, so that's all the gastrointestinal things, digestion, elimination, all of that happens when the parasympathetic nervous system is on. This is also very, very important if you want to be able to absorb your nutrients in the foods that you're eating. You might be eating the most healthy things in the world, but if your parasympathetic nervous system is not having a turn, doing its job at its best, you might not be absorbing those nutrients really well. This is also the time where the brain gets to repair, and as the brain repairs, that's how you are able to think more clearly, store memories, and so on. All right, so a really important part about this layout here is that you have to understand is that the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems cannot both be on at the same time. They work in complete opposition to each other. When the sympathetic nervous system is on, all the body's resources are going towards this stuff. These things shut down. They get really, really small. These are very unimportant things when there's an emergency. And vice versa. When parasympathetic is on, sympathetic nervous system, those jobs get come down. So they work in complete opposition to each other. Number one, really important thing to know. And the second important thing to know is that it's a package deal, okay? So over here on the sympathetic response, you don't get to say, hey, I don't mind if my respiration goes up, but I don't want my muscles to tense. Or these three are okay and those ones are not. It's a package deal. It all happens together, okay? So there's your sympathetic response. Parasympathetic response also happens as a package deal. Once you've calmed the sympathetic nervous system down and parasympathetic kicks on, these are all the beautiful benefits that you get from that. Your digestive system, your muscles are repairing, your immune system, your brain, all those really wonderful things are happening. Okay, so why is this important to you? It's important because when you're putting a lot of effort in your life into building muscle and having all that external strength, if you're not spending enough time in this column over here, you're not getting the most out of your workouts. You're not getting the most out of the food that you're eating. And chances are also that you might not be enjoying your life as much as you could be as well. Because in this mode over here, it's very hard to live in the moment and just kind of enjoy things. All right, so what are some things that trigger the sympathetic nervous system? It's a lot more things than you might think. Basically, nowadays, it seems like every day there's about 1,000 things that are triggering our sympathetic nervous systems. It can be, a classic one people bring up is having to wait in a line. If you are getting into an argument with people, that will trigger your sympathetic nervous system. If you have bills to pay, financial worries, if you're late for things, the sky's the limit. I mean, your job, raising kids, there's so many things that trigger the sympathetic nervous system. Your past can trigger your nervous system. Maybe something happened 5 years ago and it's still bothering you. That's triggering your sympathetic nervous system. And what's happening there, is your sympathetic nervous system's going up and parasympathetic is being dampened and squashed. And all that repair work is being put on the back burner. So it's really important, a little to-do thing for you to do a little inventory for yourself and ask yourself, like, what are the things triggering my sympathetic nervous system? And how much of my day am I spending in sympathetic mode versus parasympathetic mode? So look at what are all the different things that could be causing threat in your life. And maybe none of these things are life or death situations. Maybe there's absolutely no threat to your survival, but your body is acting that way. And that's the thing that we have to pull out of. If your body's acting like it's in survival mode, we've got to pull it out of that. And I'm going to share today just a couple quick little tidbits about how to pull out of that. And the next time, we're going to delve way deeper into that. So again, do a little inventory for yourself. What is in your threat bucket? All right, so make a little threat bucket for yourself. This is really easy. Draw a picture of a box or a bucket or whatever you wish. Okay, you call it your threat bucket, and you look at what are all the things contributing to my stress level. And maybe it might be worries about your health. It might be financial troubles. Maybe you have a health problem. If you have virus, bacteria, metal toxicity, candida, food allergies, all of those things go into the threat bucket. Your body doesn't know the difference between an infection type of threat or a threat to your life. It doesn't know the difference between financial stress and the need to flee or survive or fend for your life. So all of those types of stress, okay, add them up, take a little inventory, see where you're at. How full is your threat bucket? If you imagine that this is 100% full and this is at 0%, do a little gauge for yourself and see where you're at. Look at, is there any room? If you look at your baseline day to day and your threat level, you're going to guess is at about 90%. That has left you no room for a new problem. Okay, not only that, but you also are, if your baseline is at 90%, how much time is your body being able to devote to all these beautiful healing, restorative activities? All right, a quick thing before we close up today. There's a plus side to all of these things being a package deal. If you know you're in sympathetic nervous system mode way too much of the day, and you're looking for a way to help yourself pull out of it and go over to parasympathetic mode, I know you hear it a lot, and you may be tired of hearing it, but because these things are a package deal, if you kind of target one of them and work really hard on one of them, you may be able to signal the parasympathetic nervous system that it can kind of go into its healing mode. The easiest one is to change your breathing, the respiration. It's a little hard to convince yourself to decrease your blood pressure or decrease your heart rate, but it's not as hard to say, I'm going to work on my breathing. I'm going to do some box breathing. I'm going to slow down my breathing. I'm going to look at a visually pleasing picture and breathe in for 4, hold it for a second, breathe out for 4, pause for a second, or do a little meditation app. Put your feet up like we do at the box sometimes and do some nice deep breathing. Learn about diaphragmatic breathing and so on. If you could even just slow your breathing down, okay, just slow it down, you will already signal the parasympathetic nervous system that it can get busy doing some of the things that it wants to do. All right, and that will already start pulling in some restorative capabilities. There are many, many other strategies, and that pulls us into things that have to do with stress management, and we're going to visit some of those next time in our next video.